Hi guys, so today's video is going to be again a different sort of technique for me. I've done this in the past, I think, using just like regular ink and creating a background, but we're going to use some embossing powder today and create a embossed background where the title, or the sentiment is going to take center stage, and that's going to be the main thing, whereas the background's going to be the focus of like the technique today. So I'm using my favorite things, Frightfully Sweet, and I'm using most of the characters. In fact, I'm using all of the characters, including the little ones in the corner there. I have a Tim Holtz stamping platform here that I'm going to use, and I've used some washi tape just folded back on itself behind some watercolor cardstock. This is W.H. Smith watercolor cardstock, and I've just done that so that I can get it in the middle of the platform so that I can stamp off the page as well. I also have some Versamark that I'm going to use, my EK Success powder tool. I have got black detailed embossing powder from Stampin. Don't know how this is going to go. I don't often use black embossing powder, but we'll see. I think the effect will be better than white for this, especially being still a Halloween card, even though it's the 4th of November. But anyway, I've got a coffee filter for the powder, and I will be using some distress inks to colour the background and create a sort of distressed, hopefully cool looking background for the card. This piece of card measures 5.5 by 4.25, so it'll fit the front of a card base, and yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to put some music on and just let you watch. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll answer them for you. And don't forget to hit the subscribe and the notification bell so it lets you know that I've made or uploaded some new videos, content for you guys, if you wish to see them. So I'll see you later, or in a minute. so that's all done, and hopefully you could see from the video that this is the mat that I used, which is part of the, it comes with the Tim Holtz media mat, and normally this would sit just on the side here where there's a white area, but it works really well for all this smooshing technique. So I hope you like that turned out the way it did. Embossing the images didn't really make too much difference. There's a bit of a difference, you can still see an outline compared to, say, the sweets here. So it's a different look, but I wasn't worried too much. So just remember, all those different layers add to different textures and different, like, just gives it more interest on your card. So what I'm going to do now is I've got my card base, which is basic black Stampin' Up! Cardstock, and it measures 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5.5 and folded. I have a piece here that measures 5 1/4 by 4, and that's just for the inside of the card, so that you've got somewhere to write your message. And I'm going to do the sentiment now. So this is a sentiment from the same stamp set, and I'm just taking a banner label from the Project Life cards and labels die set. This is an old, they used to be part of Stampin' Up! The Project Life stuff, so that's changed now. I think it's called Memories and More now. So I'm just going to use this die from it, and I'm going to use the watercolor cardstock, the same color cardstock that I used for the what's this called, for the main panel, just to stamp my sentiment. So I'm just going to get this. I have actually got the smaller, my smaller what's this thing called? Stamp press thing. So I'm just making sure that'll fit across there. I'm just going to lie this anywhere there, because I'm going to die cut it. It doesn't really matter too much if it's super straight. I'm just going to use VersaFine ink for a nice crisp black image. And the nice thing, excuse the squeakiness, the nice thing is that if it doesn't stamp completely, because the watercolor cardstock is textured, you can always go over it again, which I don't really need to, but I'll just show you what I mean. You can just go back over it as many times as you need until you've got an image that you feel is clear enough for you. So that's my sentiment. That out the way. And I'm just going to go and, actually I'll let that dry for a second, because VersaFine can take a little bit of time to dry. And let me just get these stuck on. Where's my tape gone? Trusty tape. And I'll just get this stuck to the inside of the card. You can always write with a white pen or marker if you don't want to put another white panel inside the card. You can always do it that way. Right, let's just get these off. And I think what I might do actually at some point is invest in a like one of those roller, what am I trying to say, like a tape gun, just because it'll be so much quicker for you guys. You won't have to sit there watching me peel tape off all the time, which I'm sure is rather boring. You know, come on, get on with it. Maybe you don't, I don't know. Right, so it's just going on the inside. Get it as even as I can. Lovely. Then for the outside, I think I'm just going to put it flat. I've been quite liking that these days, just having, you know, the main part of the card being the front panel being full of interest and what am I trying to say? Just full of interesting things to look at, etc. You could easily put foam on the back of this and you know, have it popped up, but I don't really. I'm liking the flat cards. They're easier for mailing as well, and I'm putting quite a bit of tape on here just because it is a little bit warped because of the being watercolor paper and all the moisture that we've had on it with the ink, with the water, etc. So just want to make sure that it don't come off, basically. No one wants that, right? You don't put all that effort into your card and then find that it falls apart. You definitely don't want that. So, and if I had the space, like where my camera is set up, oh, why won't this work? I would show you how to, you know, the actual die cutting part. I just haven't got the depth between here and here. I haven't actually got the height to be able to do that. So we won't do that. I'll show you how to line it up and stuff. So, right, make sure your card's open in the right way. And then sometimes this works by lining up the base of the card like so. That's somewhat worked. It's a little bit I could probably trim off the top, because sometimes your cards, when you cut card, even though you're cutting it to the same size, or to the size, you know, the standard sizes, sometimes, you know, you might not quite line it up in the exact same space on the trimmer, so there is a little line right at the top. I don't know if you can see that, but I can always trim that down. So that's ready to have the sentiment put on. So what I would do is, if you've got dies like this, I would stamp your image first, and then it doesn't matter too much if it's straight, right? And then use your die to die cut, as opposed to doing it the other way around. There is a chance when you do it the other way around that you're gonna, unless you've really got a keen eye for this, which I definitely do not, you do risk stamping it not quite in the right place on the die cut piece. The other side of it is that it's harder to stamp when you've got one little piece as opposed to a bigger sheet of card. So I just find this easier to do. Let's see. So now we have to, of course, have to try and line it up in here as straight as I can. See if I can do it like this. And I'm just using some washi tape to hold it down while I run it through the machine. Do you know, I can't tell if that is straight or not. Ah. Let's see. If I do, this is just a Tim Holtz ruler. Oh yeah, that's not bad. Let's go with it. Right, I'll be back in a second. Right, so this is all die cut. Just going to pop it out back. I'll sort the die out later. So there we have our little die cut piece. Lovely. And some edgy bits, but that's fine. And what I thought was, because there's none of this colour now on the outside, it's possibly going to look a little odd. Can't talk today. So I'm just going to, you can use a sponge dauber and just go around the edges if you want, but I'm going to see whether I can just get some sort of, yeah, that didn't work at all. I was going to say some sort of line on here. That's not going to work. So I'll just get what have I got to hand that I could just use? I've got sponge daubers, but let's just use a bit of this when you know, as you do. Do you know what? It works pretty well, actually. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Look at that. With a bit of paper towel scrunched and a non-stick mat. Did not know that was going to work, guys. Well impressed. Let's just get rid of this. Obviously there's a bit of moisture here now where you've done your clean up. Right. I can get rid of this in a minute anyway, but that's fine. And now that will just pop out that little bit more. You can go in with other colours as well. You don't have to stick to what's there. Sorry about that. Hubby came upstairs. Right, so what I was saying was I've got the tag ready and I've just put some foam on the back. And I wanted to show you that when you get your foam dots, and I know I've shared this before, but when you've got this, you take all the foam dots out because that's what you use on your projects. But there's all this backing left which is all sticky. So don't waste it, just cut it up and use it on your projects. So that's what I've done here, if you can see that. So I'm just going to stick this up here, I think. See if I can get it straight-ish. It's probably not straight, even though I think it's straight. And I think that will finish it off. Yeah. You can always add embellishments, you can add sequins, you can add some Nouveau drops. If you've got the some glow-in-the-dark ones, you can add those. Just bear in mind any moisture on here while it's still damp. In fact, I don't even know, maybe even when it has dried, because they distress oxides and they distress things, they will react with water. So, yeah, just be aware of that. You may get a cool effect. But if you're not worried about that, then that's fine. So, yeah. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully the technique is something that you'll try if you've not done it before. It's not a new technique and it's not new to me. Doing the heat embossing of the images and then doing the technique was more of a new thing for me. I don't think I actually needed to do that. But it does give, if I hold this in the light, I don't know whether it'll pick it up on the camera, but you can see the shininess of the embossing powder where it picked up. And then obviously there's the images, the little sweets in between that we just added in that obviously weren't embossed, but they still add to another layer of the card. So I think that's kind of neat, that there's all these different layers that you've got going on here, and yet you didn't really do that much to get it to look like this. So I thought it was pretty cool. I'm glad it turned out okay. I always worry when there's something that I try for the first time or new to me, or something I haven't done for a long time, and then I do it on camera. So yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. I think I've got one more Halloween video after this for 2018, and then it's Christmas, of course, and then I'll be starting all those sort of projects. So I hope you've enjoyed this year's 2018 Halloween projects, and if you haven't checked them out, there's loads more on my channel. You know, I'd love it if you had a look at them and let me know what you think. And I'd also love it if you wanted to see more, if you hit the little bell, which is a notification button, when you subscribe. I'd love that too. So thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!